This is the city of Sarajevo in Bosnia, and the year is 2001. Evidence of the war that recently traumatized the city can still be seen. During that war, volunteers working for EDA brought convoys of food, clothing and medicine to help the people of the beleaguered city. Delivering aid could be both difficult and dangerous. Snipers were always on the lookout for targets, and trucks bringing humanitarian aid were not exempt. On one of these convoys in 1993, a sniper's bullet found and killed Christine Witcutt, one of EDA's volunteers. The tragedy of Christine's death was a heavy blow to her family and to her friends in EDA. Out of their shock and grief came a determination that Christine should be remembered in Sarajevo as well as in Scotland. But the tribute in Sarajevo should be some form of living memorial which would bring help to the people in a continuing way. Her family and friends, together with EDA and her local church, have campaigned over the last 8 years to raise money for what became known as the Christine Witcutt Fund, to create that living memorial. This is the Vladimir Nazor School in Sarajevo. It provides education and care for children with learning difficulties. This extension was built onto the school with funds provided by a Turkish donor who wished to remain anonymous. His generous donation provided the school with additional space, but there were no funds to pay for staff and resources, so the building stood empty. Christine was a teacher, interested in all children, so the idea of creating a centre in her name that would help to provide education and care for some of the city's children who had more severe or complex disabilities seemed appropriate. The Witcutt Fund therefore agreed to pay for the building to be staffed and resourced for a period of 5 years, after which the city of Sarajevo will take over responsibility. On 15 September 2001, it was formally opened as the Christine Witcutt Centre for Children with Special Needs. The centre cares for 24 children. Here they learn to read, write and count. Computers help them to grasp concepts of colour, shape, language and number through special educational software. This technology is of critical importance for the children. Pencil and paper exercises can be used in the teaching, but children who find writing difficult may need alternative ways of communicating. The centre also has a music therapy room. Children can listen to music and learn to play instruments. The therapeutic effects of music are well established and can be particularly beneficial to children with emotional difficulties or who find it difficult to express themselves in speech. A small but fully equipped kitchen is used to give the children practice in the basics of food preparation and cooking. Here they have a chance to learn skills that could enable them to be more self-sufficient in their adult life. Children attending the centre also have access to craft workshops used by other children attending the Vladimir Nazor school. There are workshops for art, woodwork, pottery and weaving. The school is very proud of the work produced by the children, which is always on display. Life for parents of the children can be very hard. In Bosnia, there is hardly any provision for children with special needs, so parents often have their children and young adults at home with no respite or help of any kind. This is Dea. She has cerebral palsy. Her mother lost her job through the war. She worries about the many problems of caring for her teenage daughter. If I die, she says, who will look after her? She is very grateful that Dea has been given a place in the Christine Witcutt Centre, and relieved that Dea will be given a good education, not left to sit doing nothing all day, as sometimes happens. Knowing that Dea is being well cared for during the day also gives her the chance to look for another job, even though work is difficult to find.
There are many problems regarding caring them.
Children attending the centre are among the lucky ones. There are many others in the city who are not able to attend school, but whose needs are as urgent or even more severe. To offer some help, the Witcutt Fund works with a local parents' association to provide a home visiting service. This is the Mavrai family. Mrs. Mavrai herself has learning difficulties. Her son Regep is 27 and has severe learning difficulties. Emina, her daughter, is 24. She too has learning difficulties and also suffers from epilepsy. Mr. Mavrai has to take care of all three. He has no job and no prospect of getting one. With winter approaching, he combs the streets for wood for their fire. The Parents' Association are trying to arrange for them to have free gas for their heating. They have no proper beds, only mattresses that are put down at night and lifted during the day. Today we bring them some food, clothes and toiletries, including much needed incontinence pads. This is Elizabeth. Her parents saw a film starring Elizabeth Taylor and named their daughter after her. When young, she had an accident which broke both her legs and left her with a permanently damaged hip. Elizabeth lives on the 8th floor of this building with her husband, son and daughter. There is a lift, but it doesn't work. Neither does the central heating, and the Sarajevo winters are bitter. During the war, they had to carry up their water supply every day in buckets from a standpipe 2 kilometers away. Elizabeth tells us that the war robbed her of both parents and 3 of her brothers. Her mother was killed in her home. The men of the family simply disappeared. No bodies were ever found. Elizabeth's son Elmir is 14. He would like to play sports, but the family cannot afford even the modest sum needed for him to join a club. Her daughter Elma is 17 and severely handicapped. She has not been able to find a place in a school. She tries to play with other children in the building, but they reject her. So Elizabeth has to be her constant companion. Elizabeth has always fought hard to overcome her difficulties. Against all odds, through home studying, she has almost finished a degree in law and expects to graduate in a few months' time. Difficulties, however, never seem to end. The flat they occupy is not theirs. The owners returned a few weeks ago and made an inventory of all the furniture and fittings. The day after our visit, Elizabeth received an official order to leave. She has only 2 months to find somewhere else to live. Last time the family tried renting, they were refused whenever the landlords found out about their daughter. Life continues to be hard for the people of Bosnia and Sarajevo. They need all the help we can give them. Christine died while trying to bring help to the city. Nothing can ever compensate her family and friends for the loss of her life. But perhaps there will be some consolation in knowing that here in Sarajevo there is indeed a living memorial to her name. There is comfort for families in need and happiness in the faces of children. Surely this is Christine's legacy.